us, a man who has become the unofficial chaplain to all the show bands over the last number of years. A very special friend of ours, a very special friend of anybody involved with the show bands, Father Brian Darcy. First of all, we have Bridget here, Shay's mother. And Shay's wife, Josie. And Brian Call was wondering there how Shay keeps so young looking. I think that's the secret. There's his youthful wife, Josie, who looks after him so well, and of course his mother, Bridget.
The nice thing about it is that we've had a lovely night, and it's marvellous to have a good, happy night. And I'm sure Shay must be delighted. In fact, I was talking to him earlier, and he said, "Will you give me a blessing, because I think I'm dead." I never hear nice things like this said about me, except when do we ever hear such nice things said about us, except when we're dead, and then we don't hear them. And even if we did, we wouldn't give a tuppenny damn anyway at that stage. But it's lovely that we're able to be here tonight and to give credit to a great man like Shay. One of the things that we need to get right is coming up to Lent, you know. And today is Temperance Sunday. So if this concert goes on much longer, Father Murray and myself will be given ashes on the way out. Yeah. And with the smoking that's going on here, we'll have no trouble getting ashes either. You can see that, isn't it? Jean Stewart and myself were talking about Temperance Sunday. Don't be laughing just because Jean was talking about Temperance Sunday. Well, it reminded me of a nice little story about Dr. Paisley. You know Dr. Paisley, you've heard of him, haven't you? And Dr. Paisley was, on one occasion, went to a Catholic wedding, kind of an ecumenical gesture to let them know what he thought Catholics looked like. And anyway, the man in the hotel was very happy that Dr. Paisley had come to visit him. And the parish priest came out to meet Dr. Paisley. And the man in the hotel came over to the parish priest and he says, "Father," he said, "what will you have? Will you have a little drink?" And parish priest says, "Yeah, of course," he says, "and I'm in the proper country. I think it should have a bushmills in this part of the country. So a nice little bush will suit me lovely." And barman came back and gave the priest a little bush, very happy, sipping away. And then Mr. Paisley came over and he said, "And Mr. Paisley, presumably you'll have the same." And he said, "I will not. I will not let an evil spirit like that pass my lips. As a matter of fact, I'd rather commit adultery than let a drop of the evil spirit pass my lips." And the parish priest put the glass of whiskey back. "By God," he says, "I didn't know we had a choice." They were saying I should have a religious joke, and I don't know any religious jokes, except I was talking to this young man, and he said he had found a new way to pray, and I said, "How do you pray?" And he said, "Well, I went up to God, and I said, 'God, how long is 1,000,000 years to you?' And God said, 1,000,000 years to me? 1,000,000 years to me is just like a minute." Oh, he said, "God, how much is $1,000,000 worth to you?" And he said, $1,000,000 to me? Just worth a penny." And he said, "God, could I have a penny?" And God says, "Yes, in a minute." You heard the story about the parish priest and the parrot, did you? You never heard? Did you ever hear that one? Well, you're too young anyway, you're just as well. There's this parish priest, not Father Murray now, I should hasten to add, and certainly not Father Kevin Mullen, because he wouldn't do this. This parish priest was going around visiting his people, you see, like all good parish priests do. And he was knocking at the door, and he came into this house, and like any house, when you go into a house, they always put the parish priest into the room that nobody else ever goes into. Parish priests are great examples. They know every fusty smell that's going. Because they end up by thinking that there's no television in any house because they gauge away from anything that's normal. Sunday World, the papers. Pull you into a corner, put it onto the chair, Only buy the Sunday World for Father Darcy. What did I write about this week? I haven't got round to reading it yet, but brought the poor old parish priest into this place anyway. Brought out the old cups that they hadn't been used for a month. The china ones, stains on the inside of them. They couldn't get them off them that long since they were used. And they left them in, and there was nothing in the room, only a parrot. So while she was off making the tea, the poor old woman had, before this, had little difficulty. She had brought 2 parrots, and she didn't know which of them was the male and which of them was the female. So eventually she came round to some fella and said, well, I'll tell you what, he says, if you sneak down during the middle of the night, you might actually discover which of them is the male and which of them is the female. And when you find out which of them's the male, put a wee sort of a white ribbon round his neck. So that's what she did. She put a lovely wee white ribbon round the parrot's neck. The parrot was looking down at the parish priest anyway, and the parish priest was talking to him, and he says, and what's your name? And he said, my name? He said, my name is Bill. He said, what are you doing? And he said, he looks down at the parish priest and sees the white collar, and he says, I see she caught you in the middle of the night as well, did she? Another one about a parrot. Well, this is the last one I'll tell you about a parrot before I get myself into trouble. Which is the quickest way out of here, Shea? There was this poor old man was in doing a job in a house one night, a robber, you see. And he comes into the house and he's upstairs and he's rooting round and he could find nothing. And eventually he found upstairs the jewellery box, lovely emerald ring in the jewellery box. And he's about to put the emerald ring into his pocket when he hears this voice from behind him saying, remember, Jesus is watching you. Oh, holy God. He took the ring out of the pocket and put it back, and then he thought the ring was nice, so he took it back and he put it into the pocket again. Remember, Jesus is watching you. He put on the flashlight, and here was a parrot up in the cage. And he goes over to the parrot. Oh God, he says, am I glad to see you? He says, you're a lovely parrot. He says, what's your name? And he says, my name is Moses. And he says, what stupid twit named an intelligent parrot like you? Moses. The parrot says, the same stupid twit that named the Rottweiler behind you Jesus. That's enough of the crack, isn't it? Ah, it is, aye. No, I've run out of clean ones. Well, I was talking to Shay there earlier about a few jokes. We're going round the old show band scene. I'm delighted to be here tonight, and seriously, I could stay and chat to you all night, and it's lovely to see such a warm audience here for Shay tonight, because nobody deserves it better. We had a lovely night for Edward McNamee a couple of years ago down in Knocknamo Hotel, and we've had lovely nights for Brian Call along the way, and we've nice, beautiful nights to have, and they're wonderful memories and mean such a lot to the people who are on the receiving end of them. And it's a nice thing to do, because people like Shay Hutchinson and the Melody Aces really did make places like Omagh, Newtown Stewart, Tyrone, they made it known far earlier than any tourist board or anything else. Before we were known for being a violent people, before we were known for the troubles, we were always known in this part of the world as the people who brought happiness to the rest of Ireland by bringing music, by bringing entertainment, by bringing joy to people. And it's a great, great gift that this part of the world has over more than any other part of the country. And I was speaking with Shay about some of the things that went on, throughout her career. But it's very, very hard. Shay, as he is known, has seen the world several times. He was so many years in the Royal Navy and went round the world, saw everything that had to be seen, came home, had listened to people like Jimmy Rogers and Hank Williams, and decided that Irish music was the one he was brought up in. But after that, he wanted to sing and make people happy with this other American music, which in turn had been got from the Irish anyway. So country music and Irish people it's natural that we would want to be part of country music because it was our music originally. It came out from the Celtic nations, from Scotland and Ireland, went out to America, into the bluegrass hills, and they still play bluegrass music pretty much as Irish traditional music to this very day. People like Ricky Skaggs and Bill Monroe are indecipherable from Sean Maguire, and playing the fiddle and playing the stuff. And that was the music, the link. It was about life, it was about family, it was about our emotions, it was about reality. It was about the sad things in life, it was about broken love, it was about drinking, it was about being out of work, it was about the joys of birth, it was about the lovely, beautiful things that life is about, and sometimes the sad things that life is about. But if you can sing about them, it's even better than praying about them. Because singing about them is, in fact, making use of them, praying them, talking about them, making them part of your life and learning from them. And Shay Hutchison is a man, even in my young days, Shay Hutchison was a major, major star. And I remember going the night, or a few nights before I entered the religious life, to the Astoria Ballroom in Bundoran. And the Melody Aces were on a 2-band session with the Capital Show Band. This would have been the early 60s. And we went down with my brother down to Enniskillen, from Enniskillen to Bundoran. We had a most marvellous night. And mind you, coming home that night, I thought, I don't think I'll enter at all. So Shea, you nearly put me off the vocation. And there's many as a bishop since that wish you had. Tell you the God's truth. And then I was a young student in Dublin, and I used to see the Melody Aces van parked in Parnell Square. And I'd go round to see, was Edward or some of the boys knocking about that you could say, or John Devine, God be good to him. See some of the boys, could you have a chat with somebody from home? You might meet the Platter Men, the Polka Dots, Brian and the boys, I used to meet them too. And it was just somebody from home to meet in Dublin at that stage, somebody that you knew. And it was really, really nice, and was really proud to be part of that tradition. And since then, I've always maintained that I always felt that the Melody Aces were the band that they accepted that they were an ordinary group of guys, but I think they undersold themselves. I really do think the Melody Aces undersold themselves. The Clipper Carlton were truly regarded as a wonderful band, and rightly so. But I always thought that the Melody Aces were the band that were probably in the same league as the Clippers, but never allowed themselves to think they were in the same league as the Clippers. They were more ordinary in their approach, but I still think that they have contributed more than any other group of musicians, to live music dancing, and particularly to country music dancing. And that's why I'm very proud to be here tonight to welcome, undoubtedly, the first, the original, and the greatest of the all-time country singers that ever stood on a stage in this world. The man who started it all, the hardest thing to do, the man who pioneered country music and for other people, as has been said so many times tonight. The greatest of them all. And I would you welcome, in his home parish, where a man at last is being recognized as the prophet he is. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love you to stand your attention and give a standing ovation to this great man, the living legend, Shay Hutchison. Shay, how are you? To Shay Hutchison, in appreciation for the contribution to the Irish show business on the 15th of the 2nd, 94, by handing him a chalice to say mass. To the high priest of country music, Mr. Shay Hutchison. Are you not? I'm going to welcome on stage, to finish the night in the style of which they've always done throughout the country, throughout 40 years and more of Irish music, would you welcome your very own, the wonderful Melody Aces Show Band. Let's have it. The Melody Aces.
I'll pay the rent. I know I've done you wrong. Yeah, remember that rainy evening I drove you out, nothing but a fine to go. I know I'm to blame, but ain't that a shame? Bill Billy, won't you please come home? Come home, you've been away too long. I'll do the cooking, honey, I'll pay the rent. I know I've done you wrong. Yeah, remember that rainy evening I drove you out, nothing but fine to go. I know I'm to blame, but ain't that a shame? Bill Billy, won't you please come? Billy, won't you please come? Bill Billy, won't you please come home? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Thank you very much indeed. No matter how often we try to leave this next number out of our program, we always seem to get a request to play it, so we'll not leave it out tonight either. We play Down by the Riverside. Well, I met my little bright-eyed gal way down by the riverside, way down by the riverside. Ooh, yeah. Down by the riverside, I met my little bright-eyed gal way down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I worked my courage up and asked her for a little kiss way down by the riverside, way down by the riverside. Ooh, yeah. Down by the riverside, I asked her for a little kiss way down by the riverside, down by the riverside. She said, a patient little man, I know you'll understand. I hardly know your name. I said, if I can help my way, maybe some sweet day, your name and mine will be the same. So I wed my little bright-eyed gal way down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I wed my little bright-eyed gal way down by the riverside,
Good morning to you all. This is the earliest I've been up since I came to the parish. I can tell you that much for nothing. Just want to take this opportunity just for a few moments to pay our own tribute to Shay Hutchison on behalf of the priests and the parishioners of Cappagh Parish. We could not let the night go by without saying a few words of thanks to him and join the many other people who have come here tonight to pay tribute to a great man. My association with him goes back to 1990. Whenever I came to this parish, well, I came here in 1989 as a good-looking, slim and impoverished priest. I leave it still fairly good-looking, a wee bit beefier, but thanks to yourselves, a lot richer, and long may you survive. In fact, if I survive as long... Where are you? Oh, there you are. I was just about to put my hand on the shoulder and say, what a great man, but anyhow, that's right. About 1989, there was an idea floated in the parish about having a parish show. And it came from a festival committee, and myself and Brian Donnelly decided to take up the challenge. And there was an awful panic about it, simply because Brendan Harkin was writing the script. Now, any of you who know Brendan Harkin will know that Brendan Harkin was writing the script just before the curtains opened. And that's the way the man works. But the man being the type of being he is, he gets away with it and does a class job. But we were very worried anyhow about what sort of an attendance we'd get, because this type of show hadn't been done in Killyclogher before. And I remember Brian Donnelly saying to me, well, there's one good thing we have going for us anyhow. If they don't come to hear us or see the priest making each of himself or see what sort of a spectacle is going to go on in Killyclogher Hall, you can be sure that the crowds will turn out to see Shay Hutchinson. And that they did for Yankee Doodle Dandy, in which he played the part of a square dancer and also played the old violin and did some country singing. In Sailor, for those of you who were here at that time, he played the part of the captain of the ship. And I suppose in many ways that would sum up for me the man's contribution to our shows. He was very much the captain of the ship. Always the man first there for the rehearsals, always the man first to learn his lines, always the professional that we always looked up to. We took our inspiration and our guidance from this man. And so it was fitting that the third show that should be done in the parish would be named after a hit song that he himself recorded, and I hope we'll hear it before the night is out, and that of course is Highway to Nowhere. On behalf of the priests and the people of Cappagh Parish, Shea, I would just like to thank you for your contribution, your entertainment in this parish. And I and a lot of the people down here also know that you have done an awful lot of charity work for different groups and fundraising over the last number of years. We're very proud of you as a parishioner. Thank you very much for all that you've done for us. And I can say from the bottom of my heart, we're very proud of you, Shay Hutchison.
Finally, to end the night, I would have to pay my own special thanks to the men on the stage. And before we mention them, I think, again, on a night like this, we will remember those who can't be here, and we think especially of the three Melody Aces men, Johnny Devine, Jim Henderson, and David Coyle. They gave us a lot of, everybody here got a lot of pleasure and a lot of enjoyment from the Melody Aces, and those three men contributed an awful lot. And, you know, that's the sad thing about life. We lose some of the men, but I think it's, they have made their own mark, the very fact that we're still talking about them, and the fact that we still remember them. So we remember those three, and then we remember now the men who are very much with us, Jean and Patsy, and Edward behind me here, and back on the drums, Eugene. And we introduced our two new men. Bill has not been around for a while, as you know, Bill from the Ventures. And of course over here we have Roy Hurst. So big welcome to Roy and Bill to join the Melody Aces. And he left out the man himself over on the side, Johnny's father. Isn't it, Johnny? Right. I would also like to thank John Hutchison. I think all the Hutchison family really contributed an awful lot to tonight. The little booklet wouldn't have been possible without all the assistance they gave us, and also other members of the Melody Aces, Mrs. Devine and Liam Donnelly down there, who was involved with them as well. All of those people helped so much, but I think tonight is Shay's night, so without any more talk, hand you over and they'll talk the best way they can. They'll play you good music till the wee hours of the morning. Will you, Shay? Quarter past 11. Right. We had promised about a 11:15. Actually, it's just about 20 past now, Shay. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming here. And I think it's one of the best nights we've had in the hall, and you made it possible. And these are the men that we're paying special tribute to. So that's it. Shay Hutchison and the Melody Aces.
Thank you very much indeed. You heard that they mentioned Shea playing the fiddle there, and you also heard him playing the fiddle at the start of the night. God bless the mark, anyway. But you remember back a while there, Board Namona brought out an advertisement on the television, and they had John Skean playing the Marina Waltz. Well, Shea, he decided to take it up at the dances and start playing. You see, we got word from Board Namona, would you please get Shea to stop playing the Marina Waltz because the sale of briquettes have gone down the hill badly. So we had a Shea, no more playing the Marina Waltz. On another occasion, I remember when we were going to America, we went through the customs at Kennedy Airport. And you know the way the customs men went through all our cases, and they came along to this case, belonged to Shea, and they said, what's in this case here? And Shea said, oh, that's a machine gun. And the boy says, thanks very much indeed. God bless us, that's great. He says, I thought it was that old fiddle you play at the dances. Thank you. Thank you. We continue now, and this time we're going to dedicate this number to a very good friend of mine who works along with me over at the school, the grammar school. And I dedicate the number to Mr. and Mrs. Sean McCann. We play Never on a Sunday. Thank you very much indeed. We finish this little bit of our program here with a little Dixieland number. It's recorded by Kenny Ball, and I'd like to dedicate it to my granddaughter, Carrie Leanne. We play So Do I. Feet way off the ground, and you feel love is real, so do I. You like jazz more than Liszt, so do I. And you like to be kissed, so do I. And you like to run around with your feet way off the ground, and you kiss, so do I, so do I. Swing, so do I. You like flowers in spring, so do I. And you like to run around with your feet way off the ground, and you feel love is real, so do I. You like jazz more than Liszt, so do I. And you like to be kissed, so do I. So it must be plain to see that you gotta marry me. And when you say I do, so do I. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now to finally play the last part of our program, just in case that you think we have forgotten all about the man himself, we're going to let him finish up the program with singing a selection of songs that made him famous and he made very popular. He starts off, you ready? With the blackboard of my heart.
To school, they taught me how to write, to take the chalk and make my mark and hope it turned out right. But that's the way it is with love and how it is with me. I wrote it so that you would know I'm yours eternally. But my tears have washed I love you from the blackboard of my heart. It's too late to clean the slate and make another start. I'm satisfied the way things are, although we're far apart. My tears have washed I love you from the blackboard of my heart. You were mine for just a while, now style. You never once look back at your home across the track. You're the gossip of the town, but my heart can still be found where you tossed it on the ground. Pick me up on your way down. Pick me up, pick me up, pick me up on your way down. Oh baby, pick me up, oh baby, pick me up, oh baby, pick me up on your way down.
Not long after she started in the band, a very popular song came out, and she made this his very own song, and now she sings Fraulein.
Far across the deep blue water lives an old German's daughter by the banks of the old river Rhine, where I loved her and left her. Still I can't forget her. I miss my pretty Fraulein. Fraulein, Fraulein, walk down by the river, where each hand that your hand holding mine, by the same stars above you, I swear that I love you. You are my pretty Fraulein.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jim Reeves was a favourite singer of Shay's and at dances throughout the years. Shay was always called upon to sing some of his songs, and here Shay sings He'll Have to Go.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone. Let's pretend that we're together all alone. I'll tell the man to turn the jukebox way down low, and you can tell your friend there with you he'll have to go. Whisper to me, tell me, do you love me true? Or is he holding you the way I do? Though love is blind, make up your mind, I've got to know. Should I hang up, or will you tell him he'll have to go? You can't say the words I want to hear while you're with another man. Do you want me? Answer yes or no, darling, I will understand. Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone. Let's pretend that we're together all alone. I'll tell the man to turn the jukebox way down low, and you can tell your friend there with you he'll have to go. You can tell your friend there with you he'll have to go. As I